I figure I've been in Canada long enough that I should probably at some point try some poutine. Good morning, everybody, from Inuvik in the Northwest Territories of Canada. I've been here a couple days. I got some maintenance done on the Jeep, an oil change, and changed the fluids in my transfer case and differentials because I've been dragging the Jeep through water and you got to change the fluids when you do that. I spent a little time exploring the town and have certainly come to appreciate Inuvik. It's not your ordinary town. The architecture is super interesting to me. It's very industrial because that's the easiest thing to build up here. But everything kind of has its little unique style as well. Most of it was built in the 70s, although I do see a lot of new construction happening. The buildings have to be raised above the permafrost because the heat from the buildings would actually melt the permafrost and you would have just ridiculous freeze-thaw damage. So everything is raised up above the ground, except the igloo church. And the igloo church was built on gravel. Basically, they dug out the permafrost, put a bunch of gravel down, put a big convex cement pad on top of the gravel, and the church can move up and down a little bit with the freeze and thaw of the permafrost. And the utility system in Inuvik is kind of worldwide famous for being the first of its kind, which is the sewer and water lines are in what they call utilidors and are all above ground, which seems a little counterintuitive in the Arctic to put things that have water in them above ground, but they are these insulated tunnels that they keep water circulating through them so they don't ever freeze. And they can't actually bury those. What is it with angry gulls? And they can't actually bury the sewer and water underground because they're warm enough to melt the permafrost. And you would just get frost heave all over the place and damaged pipes. And so they came up with this utilidor system, which is currently being replaced because it's like a 60, 70-year-old system. And they had to put new ones in. The old ones look like these kind of little building corridors, and the new ones look more like pipes. This building behind me is actually the school, and obviously very industrial looking, but it fits. The local school aside, many of the buildings are kind of bold colors, including the visitor center, which I heard described as the Lego looking building. And it just works. Inuvik was built as a town where you have everything you need in order to serve the rather remote communities of the Northwest Territories. There's a big hospital here, there's a college, the Aurora College, food, gas, repairs, whatever you need. It is here in Inuvik. Many of the local small communities don't have infrastructure and need to come to Inuvik for going to the hospital, going to the grocery store, sometimes sending your kids to school. I did check out the situation with the local animal shelter here to see if my next buddy is here, but he or she is not. So we'll keep looking down the road. Between Inuvik and Tuktoyaktuk and Fort McPherson, I have talked to so many people, locals, which is a little unexpected. It's kind of neat. And no, I didn't get any of it on camera because it's just having conversations with people. Many of the locals that I've run into seem to want to talk, and they're not selling you anything. They're just, hey, you're a new person in the community right now. Tell me about yourself and tell me what you think about the place that you're in right now. If you asked me to compare the Dempster Highway with the Dalton, like, should I do the Dempster or should I do the Dalton? Now that I've done both, I would say do both. But they're different. The Dalton was definitely more about very dramatic landscapes and wildlife. I saw a lot more wildlife on the Dalton. Although I haven't given up, I'm not done going back on the Dempster yet, so maybe we'll see something. But wildlife was definitely more a feature of the Dalton. The Dempster does have some beautiful scenery, but I think it's more about the people. The Dalton doesn't have little villages along the way. The Dempster does. Being such a cold place, Inuvik has a community greenhouse instead of like a community garden that you see in other communities. And most days it's free to tour and walk around. And it's a wonderful experience, especially if it's a little cold outside, to walk around inside the warm greenhouse. I have a full gas tank. I have full grocery resupply. I think it's time to hit the road. The only way we can go now is south. Aurora Har. I don't know how far I'm going to get today. I'll be finding out the same time you guys are finding out where we're staying tonight. Not too far out of town, I found a little viewpoint with a short hike to it. Oh, bird in the tree just startled me. And viewpoint. We're walking to a viewpoint. I could see this gorgeous lake from the highway, but there's very few places to actually stop. So I'm glad we found a place to stop. That's a beautiful lake, and I forgot my mosquito repellent, so I'm going back to the car. That is a beautiful lake, and I didn't see where there was a place to stop to look at it when I was on my way up. On the way back, you never know what you're gonna see. There's miles and miles and miles of boreal forest to drive through, and from the road, it maybe doesn't seem that exciting and kind of the same over and over again, but it really is a pretty magical place. And the boreal forest covers millions and millions of acres in Canada. We've made it back to the beautiful MacKenzie River, the MacKenzie River crossing, and the ferry will be coming up real soon. There's a line for the ferry today. I mean, it's a pretty short line, but I think we might have to wait a couple of ferries because I think that big semi-truck probably goes on the ferry by itself. They packed more vehicles on the ferry than I thought they would. We are first in line for the next ferry. All right, here we go. And we are not going to be the first in line because there were a bunch of cars hiding down the hill that are going to be in front of me. uneventful crossing of the MacKenzie River. And now we got a whole lot more boreal forest and lakes till we get to Fort McPherson. Just stopped at Fort McPherson, got some gas. Now I'm carrying on. I have found a campsite down the road. I don't think it's going to be all that, but it's a free campsite, so that's what we're aiming for. We're going to go across the ferry, across the Peel River, and it'll be a little bit down the road from that. Lickety split, right after Fort McPherson is the ferry. And there's a line. I knew there was going to be a line because a whole bunch of people flew past me. It's never good if you have to take your golf club to your tire. Oh dear. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get on this ferry, but last one on, we made it. And this ferry is kind of interesting. It actually runs on a winch line, so it's winched back and forth across the river, which is why it seems kind of directionless. It's kind of swaying back and forth like this. Shoreline over there. Now we swayed over there. Now we're swaying over here. I can't tell if this is somebody camped here or an abandoned vehicle. It might be an abandoned vehicle. I'm back on the road because there is a person in that car and they appear to be having some mental issues that I don't need to be a part of. We have turned off the highway to potential site number 2. And there's actually a spot just back the way that we could stay in if the one that we're aiming for is taken. This is going to be a much better spot. There is actually somebody in the ideal spot, but there's spots down along the road. In fact, there's one right here. We'll take this one. This will do. It is not the most glamorous site. It would be really nice on top of the hill, but it's taken. So I'm exhausted. I'm gonna have some bread and cheese and some fruit and call it a night. We'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning, folks. You may notice I'm already in the car and ready to go, and that's because there are a lot of mosquitoes outside. It was a bit of a challenge getting the stuff together and getting all ready this morning, but I'm ready to go. And we are headed right down the road. There is a First Nations festival happening just down the road for the next 4 days, I think, or maybe 3 days. I think we're the second day in, and we're gonna go check it out. I don't know what it's all about. I think it's like a music and native arts and dance festival, but that's all I know. And it's in the middle of nowhere here. Like, people have to come from far away to go to it. So since it's happening while we're here, we should probably go. And it's such a habit for me to say we. So from now on, we means me and you guys. Until I get another puppy dog. But then it's me and the puppy dog and you guys.
around. Yeah, dance around. Just getting started. It'll be more crazier later with people.
It looks like I just find a spot. I see a couple of food trucks. I think this is mostly a music festival, but I don't really know. We're gonna find a place to park the Jeep. What it seems we're driving around are people's little fishing shacks. From what I understand, there are some people who live here, but it's mostly people's little fishing huts along Midway Lake. I don't know. Where do we go? There's kind of a camping area-ish down here. Let's find a spot out of the way. I think that's a good spot out of the way. This isn't the most organized. Like, it's just kind of a find a spot, I think, somewhere on this property. That's kind of level. I think that'll do. I'm gonna park here and I'm gonna meet my neighbors. This is camp. Got a couple of Germans or Swiss. I couldn't quite decipher the accent next door and I forgot to ask. But I'm setting up the full tent because this is probably going to get filled with people, and it's good to have a little bit of privacy when you're camping with a bunch of people. Got clothes on that are a little more appropriate for this weather because it's hot north of the Arctic Circle today. Let's go check to see what this festival is all about, because I don't know. That's the main stage, or only stage. It looks like a band's getting started to play. I'm gonna go in search of some food. The music has started up, but it's probably copyrighted. So we're blanking it out and putting some other music in there. That was the lake. Nice little lake. I don't know if there's fishing or anything in there. I don't know about any of the lakes around here since there's not a brochure. I have no idea what band that is, but they're great. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you're so happy. You're so happy. Hi. I figure I've been in Canada long enough that I should probably at some point try some poutine. And there is a little food truck here that's selling poutine, but the gal is taking a break, so I'm gonna come back to that later. It's not so bad with the bugs today, but it's quite warm. And the gist I'm getting is that stuff doesn't really start up till later. They're gonna have a couple bands and there's going to be some jig dancing at some point. But I'm gonna take this moment between now and when the lady's gonna start serving poutine again and just chill out a little bit with my fan. Let's turn that up. That's much better. I'm gonna get heat stroke in the Arctic Circle. It's cooled off a little bit. Let's go see if we can find some poutine. Oh man, that drumming and singing just sends a chill down my spine. In a good way. A really good way. Have my poutine. Let's go sit and eat it. It's good. Why has it taken me so long to have some poutine? Delicious.
G52. G52.
Bingo is a really big deal here. There are people with like binders of bingo sheets. They're taking it very seriously. Of course, there is a $3,000 grand prize, so I'd be taking it pretty seriously too. And here's a little philosophizing for the end of the day. I think that this festival is about families. It's about the people in the region coming together. It's not really about the music. It's not about the bingo. It's about families coming and spending time together. And they seem to welcome the strangers too. And here's something I keep on forgetting to show you guys. The Northwest Territories has the best license plate. They're polar bears. I want a polar bear license plate. And despite the amount of daylight that's happening behind me, it actually really is late. Well, I mean, not late, but it's 8 o'clock at night. And so for me, that's getting late to be out and about. After bingo, there was jig dancing with fiddle players. Quite a lot of fun to watch that. But it's 10 o'clock at night. And stuff is still going on. It's going to be going on, I think, pretty much all night long. They haven't even gotten to the jig dancing contest yet. But it's time for me to turn in. And I want to thank all of you for coming along with me. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, all those things. It costs nothing and it really does help. We'll see you down the road.